está apenas sentir dentro. Hey, está aquí, 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 nene.
All right, let's wait for everyone to kind of roll in. Welcome everybody. You can introduce yourself in the chat.
Amor, si tú te vas también me voy. Conmigo quien se va si yo me voy.
Thank you, Veronica.
Mi tierra ya se va
Always good
con
to
un silencio.
feel your presence.
Porque siento adentro.
Let us know where you are. Let us know where you teach, or what program you're involved in. Hello, John Mark. We like the music. I put it in the chat here. This is the Maharaja Flamenco Trio. I'm a little biased. I'm part of the group. But Florida-based band. This is Florida music. Florida flamenco music. Hello everyone. Jesus, Gloria, Evan, Vanessa, Edwina, Stacy, of course Tammy. The world wouldn't go around without Tammy in it. Welcome Gloria, Teresita. Thanks Gloria. Alright, I think we can get going here. Let me just here. Right. Okay, everybody. Yeah, I mean, music, right? It's just that makes the world a more beautiful place. So, thank you, everyone, for being here, my fellow educators, colleagues. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. And I want to just thank all of you all for being present today, whether you're here live right now or you're viewing the video later. I also want to just support and applaud your decision to create the time, and space in your day for your professional development. I sincerely know that our mindset, our knowledge, skills, abilities are some of our most valuable assets in life and in teaching and specifically. And investing time and energy in our professional development, in ourselves, it always pays off. So with that, my name is Ramin Yazdanpana, and I have the honor and pleasure to lead us in our webinar today, Cultivating a Community of Professional Development and Teaching Practice Online. So this webinar should be of interest to teachers and administrators, really anyone in an adult ESOL program, as I'll present and discuss an online professional development course that's available to all adult ESOL educators in the state of Florida. So I'm going to be periodically checking the chat, but please know that, let me get to the next slide here. If you have a question, feel free to type it into the chat. Okay, you can utilize that option. Your microphones will be muted. You're only in listen mode, and that today's presentation is being recorded. You're welcome to use exclamation points, emojis to express your tone and emotion. I will be taking time to address questions that come up at the end of the presentation. So I welcome questions that you have about anything that I present to you today. As always, I'd like to thank the positive and brilliant IPDE team. That's June, Tammy, and Joseph for your support. They've provided the presentation in PDF format on the IPDE website, and the recording will be available within 48 hours for review and for you to share. So I sincerely hope that your experience in this webinar contributes positively to your and others' professional development. Okay, let's move on. So, to start, let's define communities of practice, or COPs. So I'm going to use Betsy Parrish's description to define COPs. So COPs can be small groups of teachers that meet in person, whether that be online, synchronously or asynchronously, devoting time to support one another through active listening and exploration of common issues and concerns they are having in their teaching. I'd like to add to this definition and distinguish communities from groups. Although we can certainly learn from a group, communication and contact can be limited, both in terms of breadth and depth of interaction and information. In contrast, a community of learning and teaching practice is more interested in sustained connection and collaboration, cultivating a supportive environment for deeper sharing of our teaching experiences, challenges, strengths, and goals. As a teacher of adult ESOL students myself, I know firsthand how isolated and insular teaching can be at the classroom level. And even when there is a supportive environment among colleagues at the school level, there's still a need for opportunities to learn, apply, and discuss teaching methods and diverse teaching contexts with other educators around the state. These communities of teaching practice support a more reflective teaching practice that benefits teachers, students, and the goals of the program. Okay, I see we have someone from North Carolina. I'm assuming that's North Carolina. And just to answer your question, Limari, the video will be available 48 hours after we close here today. Okay, so a little bit of interaction here. So I would like you to contribute in the chat, and in 4 words or less, provide an example of how a community of teaching practice might be beneficial to you and others. So if you can just take a moment, reflect on that, just really whatever comes to mind. This isn't a test. It's just to start generating some ideas of how a community of teaching practice might be beneficial to you and others, and I would say specifically in your context. So I'll read them out as they come here in the chat. Learn from each other, absolutely. Offer and receive support, well said, Jean-Marc. To share methods of teaching, absolutely. Support ideas and resources, yes, Maria. Collaboration, mutual support, a lot of support, right? Support network, support others, learn from others. Collaboration and support. Draw us closer as a team. That's definitely true, especially at the kind of school level. Sharing, yes, sharing materials and experiences, sharing best practices. Well said, Gloria. Okay, thank you all for sharing, for sharing that. So let's go to the next slide. So in addition to the benefits you mentioned, I listed some here that you can read on this slide. And basically, cultivating a community of practice was the central goal that informed the design and development of the course that I'm going to share with you today, Introduction to Teaching Adult ESOL. So I'm a gardener. Are any of you gardeners? Do any of you enjoy gardening, growing things, fruits, veggies? I kind of like see the similarities between a garden and thank you, Teresita, and really just life, right? But specifically in this case, a community practice. So dedicating the time to establish a community practice is much like establishing a garden. It takes some upfront time and energy, as well as keeping some maintenance with the help of some friends, ideally. The veggies and fruits that come in the form of greater confidence and ability, in the classroom, greater networks and connections to other professionals and opportunities in the field, as well as a healthier professional identity, and I would say just a healthier well-being, right? As an individual. All of these things are some benefits of communities of practice. Yes, Gloria. Growing that basil plant on your balcony, it counts as gardening. I'm sure you enjoy sprinkling that basil on any dish, and that counts for sure. Okay. Thank you for your comments. I'm really feeling connected to you all. I appreciate it. Um, Okay, so overview of what we'll discuss here. So the following are the topics that we will explore in our webinar here today. So specifically around the course that I mentioned earlier. So we're going to talk about a little bit of just an overview of the course design, the course outcomes, the module topics in the course, as well as the activities within the modules. I'm going to share with you some student feedback that I think will help to be insightful to get an understanding of students' experience in the course, as well as how I applied that feedback through lessons learned, as well as some potential course modifications based on that feedback, as well as observations that I made. So the course Introduction to Teaching Adult ESOL is a 10-week online teacher professional development course for teachers of adult ESOL in Florida. The learning management system we utilized is Canvas. And if you don't know what Canvas is, it's a web-based learning management system, or an LMS. It's used by learning institutions, educators, and students to access and manage online course learning materials and communicate about skill development and learning achievement. The course is focused on andragogy, second language learning theory, and in ESOL teaching methodology. And it's informed by the Florida teacher standards for ESOL. The Quality Matters CPE rubric was used in the development and review of the course design. If you don't know what the Quality Matters CPE rubric is, it's basically a set of 8 general standards and 43 specific review standards used to evaluate and aid the design of online and blended courses. So the following are course outcomes that really guided the development of the module activities and the module objectives. So the first here is we have apply methods of teacher self-reflection. The second is apply methods of peer observation and feedback. The third is develop needs analyses of adult ESOL students. The fourth is align adult ESOL program goals with curriculum, teaching and learning materials, and student profiles. The fifth outcome is apply second language acquisition, or SLA, theories and methodologies to adult ESOL contexts. And 6, develop lesson planning that applies learner-centered teaching strategies and activities such as differentiation. And finally, support fellow adult ESOL teachers through a community of teaching practice. So we can see some of those key words match what we listed as kind of benefits of community of practice. Okay, so let's go on now to the module topics for the course. So the following are the course modules that were developed to meet the course outcomes. So module 1, developing a community of teaching and learning. Participants describe how identity and experience as a learner and teacher have shaped and informed their teaching. They also identify processes for teacher reflection and professional development that are the most relevant to their teaching practice. And finally, in Module 1, they create a teacher observation task for the purpose of professional development through reflective teaching and peer support. In Module 2, your adult ESOL context, participants analyze diverse program options for teaching adult English learners and how they apply to their teaching context. Also in Module 2, participants analyze how their student and program goals, strengths, and challenges align. In Module 3, second language teaching approaches, Participants identify theories of second language learning, as well as illustrate examples of second language teaching and approaches within their teaching context. In Module 4, Planning for Adult ESOL Teaching and Learning, participants identify strategies that support the planning for learner-centered instruction, as well as develop an outline of a weekly lesson plan by synthesizing learner-centered teaching and learning strategies and activities. And finally, in Module 5, Differentiation in Adult ESOL classes, participants identify differentiation teaching strategies for multi-level and diverse classes. Finally, they develop a weekly lesson plan outline by applying differentiation teaching strategies for multi-level and diverse classes. As you can see this image here, the course readings and lectures were largely based on the excellent course book, Teaching Adult English Language Learners, A Practical Introduction, second edition by Betsy Parrish. Additional readings and resources were provided as needed, and a lot of those resources were provided not only by myself, but also by the participants in the course. Okay, so we're going to take you on a tour here of the course, but first I just want to give you an overview of the module activities. So the first, within each module, you have a module overview, and this is where we provide module objectives as well as a video tour of the activities in each module. And this is really to help orient participants to the module activities, what the expectations are, and just to kind of provide them with support of knowing how to orient themselves. Again, this course was a mostly asynchronous course with Zoom meetups that we had every other week, right? So it was really important to provide as much video and audio support to participants so they can really see clearly and kind of get more than just text support. So as you'll see in the course, there's a lot of video content. The second is this book club activity, and this is a space for the instructor to provide a brief lecture and textbook readings, post discussion questions for participants, as well as for participants to respond and share further ideas and resources. Next is the activity of the module, and this is to facilitate the application of course concepts to the course participants, specific and diverse contexts, and to share these applications within their diverse contexts with the rest of the cohort. The next is a reflection activity, and this provides a guided reflection for the cohort to relax, reflect on the questions that are associated with the module topic, and share the reflections. So I want to say that this is actually applying mindfulness meditation techniques in these reflection. So the activity provides a more internal focus and also a space to cultivate teacher well-being, as well as to share kind of deeper aspects of identity, teaching practice, and their experiences. So we'll take a look at that as well. Next is a cafe, resources to share. So this was a space to crowdsource resources that were related to the module topic and just discussion that through the discussion board activities. And finally, cohort feedback to the instructor. So within each module, and there are 5 modules, students were given the opportunity to provide feedback on the module activities, and we'll see some of their feedback in the slides coming up here. But before that, I would like to just show you the course. So this is the student view of the course, and just really briefly, you can see the home page. There's a welcome video here to give an overview of the course. Again, this was the fall 2022 cohorts to this introduction to teaching adult ESOL. We have the course syllabus, and I'm not going to take you throughout the whole course syllabus, but you can see the contents of the course syllabus, and that just provides overview, objectives, resources, what the online course learning environment is, technology requirements. Speaking of these bi-weekly synchronous meetings on Zoom, expectations for the discussion activities, requirements for course completion, and a course module map. And we also have a space here for announcements that was used often, as well as the kind of the meat of the course, or if you're a vegetarian, the sweet potatoes of the course. And these are the module activities. Okay, so let's explore this a little bit. So again, we saw that these are the activities in each module, and let's kind of explore them as they are shown here in the Canvas course. Module 1 is a little unique in that there was a questionnaire, and this was basically like a needs analysis for students. But as we can see here, there's a module overview, and this was again an area to orient the participants in the course of the module, as well as provide the specific objectives for the module. And then we have here the reflection activity. Again, most reflection activities in the other modules, as you'll see here, come a little later. But this, being that it was module 1, it was the beginning of the class, I thought it was important to share some reflection around identity. And this one was specifically around who am I, who are you, who are we. And so this was an opportunity to build rapport, right, for participants to get to know each other. And these were the kind of reflection questions, right? So think of 3 words that describe how you choose to identify yourself. Describe how these identities inform and shape your expectations of learning and teaching, and then reply to 2 other posts. And I mentioned here that this was applying some mindfulness meditation practices. So this was actually audio that I recorded that engaged participants in some relaxation techniques, some kind of breathing, breath work techniques, as well as just like a body scan. And the rationale behind this is when you can engage in these kinds of exercises, these mindfulness exercises, what it does, it actually stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system. So that's our rest and relaxation state. It also changes our brainwave patterns to go from a beta brainwave pattern, one that I'm in right now, that you are probably in right now as you're listening to me, drop down to alpha brainwave states. And in these alpha brainwave states, we're actually able to see the bigger picture of things. And so when you can apply these mindfulness meditation techniques, it really facilitates participants to relax, see the bigger picture, be able to reflect at a deeper level, and even feel more open to sharing their thoughts and their ideas. So it's a powerful tool that proved to be powerful throughout the course, and it's something that you might consider applying in your workshops if you're engaging in community of practice professional development workshops, as well as in the classroom, right, to get students literally on the same kind of frequency. I don't know if any of you, and I'll ask you in the chat, if any of you apply any kind of similar strategies or techniques in the classroom or in your trainings, whether it be, icebreaker kind of activities or mindfulness meditation kind of activities. If you do, feel free to respond in the chat. But you can see here, we get into the discussion boards, and we're not going to take time to kind of read these out, but I just wanted to do a slow scroll so you can see the interaction between participants. There's a lot of rich description, immediately rapport building, and this is really key to developing a community of practice, a course with the development of community practice as its central goal is to develop an environment where participants feel safe, they have trust, and that they can have a space to feel vulnerable. It's also a space where, as participants share their ideas, their challenges, their strengths, we can share resources, okay? And it can go beyond what the initial maybe objective was, or the initial focus maybe was for the activity. So you can see here again, I hope the scroll isn't making you dizzy, but I'll go ahead and go down. Again, a lot of interaction. And so going back to the modules, I'll show you an example of a book club activity. So the book club activity, again, this was based off of Bessie Parrish's book. And this was an opportunity to have just a space to discuss course readings. So having text, having a book club, right, where we all read the same thing, and we're in a space to share our thoughts, to share our ideas, to share how the content applies to our specific context. And again, being that this is in this course, participants are coming from all around the state of Florida. They're pretty diverse contexts with different students, different needs, different program foci. So this is an opportunity for everyone to kind of learn from each other's experiences and around a central kind of topic or theme, right? So this one was actually developing a really more a reflective practice of teaching. And so these are some of the key terms and concepts. And then we discuss kind of how to apply these different ways, these different approaches to reflective teaching practice into their classroom contexts. And then we have an activity. And in this one, it was an observation task. So this was actually an opportunity to create an observation task focusing on a specific topic that they would like to invite their peer or a peer to come and observe their class, to invite them for peer feedback, and then come up with some follow-up questions that they can ask in order to develop peer support and a community practice at their school context. So here we are kind of applying this at this course level with the goal of them taking that activity and applying it at their school. Okay, so and then finally here we have cafe resources to share. So this is a space here to, again, crowdsource resources that are relevant to the topic. I will say that I went in and really got it going, right? Because there's so many great resources across the state of Florida, including Florida IPDA. But you can see here, that some people aren't familiar with these resources. And then after I share, of course, the participants shared as well. I will say that this has been the most successful experience with these kinds of getting these spaces to get participants to share resources. And the reason I think is because I made it a graded activity. So this provided that kind of external motivation for students to do something that, honestly, in my experience, students rarely do voluntarily. So, this is why we come to courses, right? This is why we engage in these kind of professional development opportunities, is to have someone, a coach, to kind of push us and to do things that we might, our brains are telling us, do something else, you don't want to do that. But we know that that's just our brains protecting us from any kind of suffering. But if we can move past that, that's how we grow. Okay, so that's pretty much the modules, and then we have cohort feedback to the instructor. I'm actually going to jump down and show you just really quickly what these questions, feedback questions, look like. And so just really quickly here, talking about the materials and activities, how they were relevant and helpful, when they plan to apply the content from this module, and feel free to to adapt, to steal any of these ideas that you have and apply it to your professional development courses. What did you like most about this module? If you found the reflection activity helpful, please briefly describe why. How could we further develop this module to serve your needs? So again, we're fully aware that the needs of our participants, of our teachers, administrators might differ, they might change. So always eliciting that kind of feedback. How much time did it take to complete this module? What is the goal that you have set for yourself in the next module, right? So thinking ahead, getting participants to be strategic in what they're going to do for the next module. What aspect or aspects of your involvement in this module are you proud of? So reflecting on your strengths, what you did well and what you'd like to potentially carry forward in the next module. Then of course, feel free to add any additional feedback. Okay, so that is the course in a nutshell. And of course, there's a lot in all of these modules. And just know that this course, this professional development course, is available to all in the state of Florida as a teacher, administrator, faculty, staff, anyone who's interested in engaging in a professional development within a community of practice. Okay, so moving on, I want to share some student feedback. There's a lot of student feedback. As you could see how there was student feedback that was elicited in each module. So I had to make a choice here of what student feedback, what questions I thought that were most relevant to our discussion here. So I chose two questions, the same two questions from each module. And I chose one comment that was maybe more kind of positive, a comment, and one that was maybe more positive, but more constructive, right? So we can look at this student feedback from module 1 about what did you like most about this module. So you can see here the participant said, I enjoy the opportunity to exchange ideas with other adult education professionals across the state and the opportunity it provides for self-reflection. I enjoyed the sharing of resources. As educators, we can never have enough of these, and the opportunity to create an observation tool. How could we further develop this module to serve your needs? I would like to hear feedback from instructors who have immediately incorporated something they learned through this PD collective. Okay, so asking for more opportunities for that kind of discussion. For module 2, what did you like? I especially like seeing my colleagues' feedback about how student strengths were leveraged in class through the unit project. How could we further develop this module? More examples for the 2.4 to 2.2 sections and student success stories related to these modules, like stories directly from students on what helped them succeed. What a great feedback, right? So that is something that we plan to do in the next iteration of the course. For module 3, what did you like about this module? Your recordings and best practices shared by my colleagues. I also like the emphasis put on connecting with the whole person. How could we further develop this module? More time, perhaps a longer duration of the course so that we can go slower on each assignment. For module 4, I like the unit project. I felt a bit confused about how to plan a lesson backwards. So we're obviously engaging in backward design. However, after completing the project, I understood. how could we further develop this module? I do feel that more interaction on this would be very beneficial to me. Maybe to have a project in which participants work collaboratively. So this was a point that I was kind of on the fence with, but in the future, that's definitely something that we will apply as being more intentional about requiring a collaborative project. And finally, for Module 5, what did you like most about this module? Knowing that this was the last module, I have tried to reflect on how quickly it went by, as I was actually teaching an adult ESOL course at the same time. The issues that other members of the cohort have highlighted within their own classes really made me think more about the differences in our classes. For how could we further develop this module, I would like more instruction in the future about how to make task-based lessons for advanced level students, which focus on more complex societal issues. So that feedback was helpful in that even though that might be beyond the scope of this course, this helps to inform future courses that we might develop that focus more on developing lesson plans that are more kind of detailed, right? And focus more on the nuances of, in this case, task-based lessons, project-based learning for students that are focusing on these more complex societal issues. So that would be ideal for a course that is focusing on contextualizing lesson plans and really how to develop more nuanced lesson plans for the context of the participants. Again, this was more of an introductory class. So some lessons learned. Some lessons learned were some opportunities here, right? That this course provided. So through this course, we were able to develop teaching expertise in second language acquisition theory and ESOL methods. The reflection and exchange between participants across the state was valued and it was beneficial. The synchronous meetings through Zoom provided a continued exploration and discussion of topics such as ideas for planning IET, backward design, approaches to differentiation such as translanguaging, and the sharing of lesson planning ideas and resources. So, having that mix of asynchronous and synchronous activities really helped to kind of flesh out and further discuss ideas that came up kind of organically in the course discussion boards. Also, the online nature of the course made sustained professional development possible. This, again, our participants range from being from North Florida, Central Florida, West Florida to South Florida. So all around the state. So, even though I think we have a preference in general for in-person interactions, having a kind of sustained professional development opportunity like this is really only possible in this context with participants all over the state in this kind of online environment. And the collaborative, reflective, and supportive nature of the course activities supported teacher well-being. Some of the challenges or limitations of interactions through the discussion board activities. Another was scheduling conflicts that prevented course participation and participation in synchronous meetings. And lastly was the length of the course. I think it felt too constrained for many of the course participants, given the richness of the course activities, the resources, and the exchange that was happening within our asynchronous and synchronous activities. So some potential course modifications. Provide some additional times and dates for synchronous meetings. I think that's something that we will definitely do. Consider extending the length of the course. So again, this course was 10 weeks long. perhaps something more 13 to 16 weeks might be more appropriate. I think initially we thought 10 weeks because we, considered like, oh, we don't want to take so much time. But I think the participants, through their feedback, truly enjoyed the content, the exchange, and the only pressure was really on the lack of time. So if we can address that, I think that course participants can maybe take their time, explore the resources a bit more, maybe engage a little bit more deeply on the discussion boards, as well as potentially attend these more synchronous meetings. Thanks, Pamela Joe. I see you. Um, and establish accountability partners. So I think this goes also hand in hand with the weekly study plan assignments, and this is where it's really addressing the desire for teachers to have connections, yes, both within the course, but also in more collaborative ways. And I think in establishing an accountability partner and where they can work on kind of like a weekly study plan, they can meet weekly, they can meet every other week. That can create that accountability that we all benefit from, right? And this is where another benefit of having a community of practice comes in, is accountability. And then finally, additional options to connect. So we're experimenting. We started a WhatsApp group, and this was the course just finished this week. So we're looking, even though course participants have access to that site indefinitely, we developed a WhatsApp group in the case that someone just had a quick question, wanted to share a resource, and wanted to connect to our community of practice in another way. So will it work? I don't know. I'll let you know in the next webinar. But again, it's just providing an additional way to connect. It gets back to that garden analogy. And, things don't, it really takes the cultivation, right, of community practice. And generally you need people to help kind of cultivate that. And people participate in different ways. Some people participate in more kind of receptive ways, and some people participate in more productive kind of or more active, right, ways. So the idea is that it's sustained, and I think with these kind of WhatsApp chat groups, perhaps as there are additional cohorts that are developed across the state. This was just the first pilot course, but I think the plan is to open it up to all across the state of Florida, and with that, have opportunities for different teachers in different cohorts to stay connected and engage through the Canvas course, and perhaps through using these kinds of application like WhatsApp. Okay, so I wanted to open it up for any questions that you all might have. If you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat about the course, about community of practice, about anything that I might have discussed here today. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat. And as we're waiting for questions to roll in, if there are any questions, if not, that's okay too. I did want to just give special thanks to a few people in support of developing this online community of practice in this course. First is Jamie Adelson Goldstein for her contributions to the course, as well as her review of the course. Rachel Ludwig for brainstorming and helping with the coordination of the course. Of course, the IPDA team, June, Tammy, and Joseph for coordination and just logistics. And Jean-Marc Wise of Wise Solutions for his consultation on the instructional design of the course. If you all would like to, if you don't have any questions here, actually I do see a question here. Stacy asks, when do you think this will be open to sign up? we watch the IPDA website for an announcement. Stacy, I think that this will be announced. I know the Florida Department of Education, Rachel Ludwig is, the last that I heard is that the plan is to offer this course in the spring across the state. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout. I would think that you're going to hear it through IPDA and through other channels as well. So I wish I had more specific information for you about that. But yeah, this was the kind of like pilot, and now it's going to be launched across the state in the spring, and it might possibly be offered in the summer and again in the fall as well. If you'd like to get a hold of me, connect with me personally, professionally, here's my LinkedIn. And I wanted to hand it over to June. So June, actually, June, are you gonna talk about the poll?
Sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Ramin, so much. Yes, thank you so much. There's three short questions that appear on your screen right now. If you would just take a minute to answer these questions, we always treasure your feedback and look forward to what you thought about the webinar. While you do that, I want to remind you that January 10th will be our next webinar, and it's about monitoring student progress using quick and easy spreadsheets. So on behalf of all of us, Ramin, the Department of Education, IPDA, I just wanted to wish all of you a wonderful holiday break. I hope you get some rest and stay well and have some fun with your families. So Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Ramin.
Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.